A very good evening, Africa. Welcome aboard for the fourth time today. We are once again live from Berlin Lounge, the biggest pool playing center in Kenya's western city, Kisumu. We just by the shores of Lake Victoria. I normally like to make it clear, the second biggest lake on the planet, also the biggest freshwater lake on the face of the earth. It is shared between the three East African countries, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Many times when I'm streaming from home, I stream when I have view of the lake, and I'm streaming far away from home, 336 kilometers away in a different country, and I'm as well having a nice view of the lake. The stream is not about the lake. It is a match that will be the first in the open category. Not as open as it should have been, because yes, it is a 4 tournaments in one that we are having at Berlin Lounge in Kisumu. There is a ladies singles competition that is in the quarterfinals that shall be played out tomorrow up to the final, and then the team event that will be pitting the Mchana Knights taking on the Money team in the final tomorrow. There were 10 teams that played out yesterday in the preliminaries all the way up to the final, but there is also an all Kenyan competition that is, I think, into the round of last 16. They've been shooting out for the course of the day, that is today. But now we are having one round of the open category. That has disappointed a little, because while participation was open to all, it is just 2 non-Kenyan players I can see participating in this one. One of them is now, upon the attainment of age, a 15-year-old. No, a 16-year-old. He turned 16 now. 16-year-old Jackson Asiku, the boy that you're looking at now, the youngest player in the competition, but a very talented young wonder kid, and is taking on Kenyan stroke Indian stroke, I will as well say Ugandan, Nafeez Kara, who is a renowned player, one of the best players in the region that is Western Kenya, but also a very prominent businessman and the team manager. He owns the club that is called Rakatak. He is also one of the managers of the team that is the team TMT. He is one of the players that reached the final of the team event yesterday. He's down by 1 frame to nil against Asiku, the Ugandan, and they are racing to 6 for a place in the round of last 32 that shall be played around 10 a.m. East African time tomorrow morning, Sunday, and thereafter we shall have the round of last 16 at around lunchtime, and also the quarterfinals at around maybe 3, maybe 4 p.m. East African time tomorrow. We shall also be having the quarterfinals in the all Kenyan event, and then semi-finals in the ladies, then semi-finals in all events. Then we shall have the finals at just about 7 p.m. East African time, and about 8 p.m. we shall have the team final between the Mchana Knights and TMT, which Nafeez will be part of, and that will be it for the day. I will make a disclaimer that there are 3 other non-Kenyans who are permitted into this competition for the fact that they are Kenyan residents. That is, those that may be watching from Uganda's eastern city of Jinja, the player that is called Musa Pogba is into this competition. Then the player that is called Joram Nabasa, and the player that is called Titus Oyet, and a host of very good Kenyan players. It is those 5 that will be giving them all the competition. Remember, once representing his management team, that is Big Kelts, taking on Nafeez. That one is self-sponsored. He's his own manager. He's managing a host of players, including himself. He has very deep roots in Uganda, Nafeez. In fact, when I'm speaking to him, we communicate in Ugandan local lingua, Luganda. He speaks the language almost as perfect as myself, but his current score is not as perfect as his opponent. An opponent who is playing a very mature game at a very young age. It's supposed to be Nafeez, who is supposed to be giving Asiku a heck of a time playing the mind game. Instead, it is Asiku that is having all of his 5 yellows in space and denying Nafeez easy cue ball to put any of his reds. I think Nafeez's intention was to play that red. He did play to occupy that center pocket, which he did. to make it difficult. If Asiku pots all of them 6 yellows, to make it difficult for him to pot the black, maybe to that center pocket. But the young man will be having ambition to win the match with the aim of first taking a 2 frames lead by winning the frame. I'm not sure that cue ball has space between it and the yellow. The umpire has not made any call. That means none of the balls is touching the other. And the young man is going for the frame. Maybe the yellow that is packed at the corner pocket bottom left will be played last. It will be a little bit tricky for the fact that it's the ball he may use to manipulate white for the black. He has created even more traffic of Nafeez reds behind the yellow and also the black right behind. And this frame is far from over now. Will he bank the yellow into the corner pocket where there is another yellow? Is it what he's trying to do? It is. It is almost perfectly executed. Nafeez survives. We shall not be having full audio, dear viewers, because of the copyrighted music that is blasting heavily in the background. Commentary is coming in the next 1 minute or so. Now Naf, by the way, that's how we call Nafeez. We just call him Naf. He has every chance of winning the frame. Maybe the problem ball will be the black. He really will want to take down the Ugandan. He did play in the Ugandan League. He was a resident in the country of Uganda from just around there 2009 up to just the time before COVID. He was living and working and playing pool in Uganda. Those who know about Ugandan pool, he was a member of the Capital Night Pool Club, one of the oldest teams in the country. He only left before COVID just around 2019 when he was living in the country with his mother, who very sadly passed on, and Nafeez decided to leave the country, maybe to shake off some of those sad memories of losing such a sweet one. Crossing the border, becoming resident in Kenya, particularly in Kisumu, opening up business, opening up a bar, but most importantly for us, opening up one of the biggest clubs in the area and the management teams. It is called Rack Attack. He's not just a player now, he's a manager and a big one, a big investor in the game, but he's a player. He has never lost his playing touch and is one of the most trusted players in this region, taking on one of the most trusted kids on the continent, and the kid puts the black and gets to increase his lead. It is Asiku 2 and Naf 0. Race to 6 for a place in the round of last 32. Now, I had promised to do double live streaming of some of these matches both on my Facebook socials as well as this YouTube channel. I just cannot, because Facebook is so brutal when you play copyrighted music in the background of live streamed videos. And for many of these videos that are copyrighted, I will be deleting them when you get to watch them, maybe in the next 1 or 2 days. Now, the young man that you are watching has, for the last 3 to 4 months, been one of the hottest properties in his country. And no wonder he's one of just 2 that did cross the border to trek the 336-kilometer distance. And that is just actual distance. Maybe the road distance is even bigger, to get into Kenya for the second time, which is the second time overall that he's participating in a competition outside his own home country. The first one was in the same region, in Eldoret City. He was part of the club Timbuktu International Carnival. He lost out in the first round by 9 frames to 7 to his friend and master on the table, that is Ibrahim Kayanja. So if he wins this match, if like maybe he could do, it could perhaps be the first time that he's winning in quotes an international match. He will be expected to put the 2 reds on the table to the corresponding corner pockets, bottom left and bottom right, maybe black to the corner pocket bottom right, because the center pocket where it is closest is occupied by Nafeez. Yellow, a little backspin, that will do. And he will be playing with the top spin white, round, 2 yellows, and behind the black, the short locked power. Still can cut it, but this time round with relatively much difficulty, in a match that is having a lot of interest by a few hundreds of viewers who have always been watching this young man, call him a boy, on the live streams. Now they have him in person playing black for the 3rd time and narrowly missing it, and he leaves space between black and jaw of the corner pocket for Naf to pass the yellow, and clearly Naf should be winning this frame and should be winning it. Now, having 6 yellows on the table, he came close to potting the cue ball. That is big backspin. He does have all the skill to win the frame with all the ease, all the experience that he nowadays plays with the Rack Attack Pool Club, the experience that saw him part of the group that reached the team final that shall be played tomorrow, the experience that saw him play for Captainite Pool Club in the Ugandan Pool League for 3 years in a row, the experience that is seeing him winning the first frame for himself of the match, but which is the 3rd overall. He will have the yellow near the corner pocket bottom left to pot in some kind of way. Move the black to the top end of the table. Sorry, move the cue ball to the top end of the table where the last yellow is. He does take a deep breath. He will be bouncing the cue ball off the left cushion. That will do. All he needs is to roll the yellow into the pocket. He doesn't need to mind the black. The cue ball for the black, because the black is there for the taking, but he's playing top spin, cue ball off the top cushion, and the rest is a formality. He's getting a huge round of applause from the fans who will want him to inspire himself, inspire Rack Attack, inspire Kisumu, inspire Kenya. He is nowadays Kenyan resident. I think he could even be having Kenyan passport, but in pool here, deep roots in Uganda. Now he's taking on a Ugandan on Kenyan soil and frame. It is Naf 2 and Asiku 1. Race to 6 for a place in the round of last 16. Sorry for the internet glitch there, viewers. It is William Ruto's network disturbing me a bit. I'm kidding. I'm using Kenya Safaricom. It is very fast internet, and it has been the first time that it has disturbed me. What you are watching is, with no shadow of a doubt, what has been the best pattern of play in the match that has seen the young man put all of them 7 reds and the black without even interfering with the pile-up of Nafeez yellows. And for the first time, he will be getting a round of applause from the Kenyan fans. It is Asiku 3 and Naf 1 race to 6. Guys, the tournament is single elimination. You lose, you go home. The winner progresses to tomorrow's round of last 32. I will be coming live with final against the Mchana Knights. If it is Asiku, he qualifies for a bus ride to Kampala before the close of the night. But for now, he leads by 3 frames to 1, racing to 6. And there goes the break, but the break by the young man was dry. And Naf is the guy that celebrated the most. He really was very happy with the frame that he won, the 1 out of 4. He did have a very good pattern of play then, but somehow the young man is bowling him. And I really love the strides that Kenyan pool is taking nowadays. For me, Kenya is the best improved pool playing nation on the entire African continent, and that is in both men and ladies combined. I couldn't believe it when I saw them defeat the South African national team in the African Championships earlier this year, a match that I streamed as well. Only in the preliminaries it was then, but also the ladies defeated the South African national team as well in the preliminaries. The Kenyans came 5th at the end of play in a tournament that had just about, what was it, 10 teams or something, and then the ladies came 2nd. And here in the East African region, they were the first country to really advance in terms of playing pool, most especially in the 90s, just to about the time that was maybe 2006-7. By 2010, the Ugandans had started really building and improving and producing class players time after time. The two countries first faced each other in a friendly match in Nairobi in 2006. The match was won by the Kenya national team. They had again another friendly 6 years later in 2012. It was won again in Kampala, this time around by the Kenya national team. And that was the last time that Kenya ever beat Uganda. Now the Kenyans are only trying to catch up with the Ugandans, and they are doing their best to do so. But so far, they do not have the answer to the crop up of young players that the Ugandans have. Speaking most especially about the young man that is leading, that is Asiku, another young man Herbert, another young man Yahaya, and more others. But not a young man, he is really, but Nafeez is showing class and quality in this one. It could be the first red apple of the evening by enough. The little problem he'll be having is that cue ball is frozen against the cushion. You get a feeling that he has sight of the black, just to sink to the center pocket right, and he does. He does have the vibe. He asks the fans for more support, more cheerleading, more morale. Nafeez 2 and Asiku 3, race to 6. 3 frames to 2. And it is a match that is being played at a very good level, I have to say. The young man that is Asiku deserves to be in the lead because the 3 frames he won were looking very impressive. But there is nothing to take away from the quality in Nafeez, most especially the prior frame that he won by Red Apple after a dry break from Asiku. But Asiku could respond here. The response he needs would be responding to fire with fire, to red apple with the red apple. He does have a pattern. He's a young man that I expect you guys to be watching for a good length of time. He not only is composed, he has the maturity, he has the skill, the potting power, the cue ball distribution, but also a very brave heart for attack. And yet he nowadays has a very stable management, Nigerian managed, and I want to believe that his manager Big Kells is watching this. And just after, maybe a few months after joining the Big Kells family, the reason that Asiku has been finding it difficult to make it into international competitions has been documentation. Now his documentation is secure. He can travel in and around the country. He can travel to comps like this and further. He can also win a frame like this and another. He can lead by 3 frames to 2. He can increase his lead by another frame. He's playing the cue ball into Nafeez red. He will want to put yellow to the side pocket right. Maybe play the cue ball with a little top spin to follow the yellow just a little, and the rest is a formality. Frame number 5 was won by Nafeez by Red Apple. Frame number 6 is being won by Asiku by Red Apple. Response to Apple with Apple. Asiku 4 and Naf 2. Rest to 6. Round of last 64 and single elimination, live from Berlin Lounge in Kisumu in Kenya. Frame number 7 is broken by the kid. Maybe I still qualify to call him a kid because I am much older than him, but he's also still below the age of 18. It is the 3rd time in a row that a break is dry. Maybe from an Asiku advantage. It hasn't been a very good split of the balls, most especially the reds. The yellows, maybe. That's why Nafeez is looking at one of the yellows with half, maybe with one of the eyes closed a bit. He wants to be sure that the yellow near the corner pocket bottom right can pass so that he can go for the yellows. He does put yellow and red. That means the table remains open. Red Apple is the more experienced player of the two, and speaking age-wise, Naf is playing against his son, but competition dictates that they will have to play fair and square. The table remains open, and clearly Asiku will want to go for the yellows with a chance that will be coming easy given his playing ability. I personally rate him one of the best youngsters, those who are under the age of 18, not just in the East African region. Lots of other youngsters who will be providing Asiku competition for the next maybe 20 years, speaking continentally, most especially Tautik Mari, South Africa, and Ryan Williams, South Africa, Herbert Mukisa, Uganda, Yahya Mpindi, Uganda, Richard Mushobe, Zimbabwe, Craig Mpala, Zimbabwe, and a few others, but those I mentioned for now take more of the limelight. There is the first mistake of the match by Asiku. He's looking at the tip of his cue, as though he miscued, as though he did not check before playing. And Nafeez must react. If he's to take down the young man, he has to utilize chances like this. The one time that I've seen the match where Nafeez has won a Ugandan player, I'm trying to gather up my memory. It was at Rakatak Pool Club, the tournament that was called was it the Rakatak Open? I streamed it from still this city, but a different venue. It was won by the Ugandan Dog City. If I am not mistaken, it is Nafeez, I think, who did beat the Ugandan, who probably was Joseph Kasozi. That is if my memory serves me right. You can look up the match. It is on this very channel while you're watching this one, with Nafeez playing red into yellow. Not bad safety play whatsoever. Asiku will be having sight of one of the yellows at the top end, but not sight enough to pot it. Maybe he could play it off the cushion. Maybe he will play the one that is bottomwards. And if he plays that one, maybe he's going for the kill. It won't come easy. He has to pot with power to the corner pocket, bottom left, bounce the cue ball off the right cushion and move it upwards, but he's not on target. And even if he were, the cue ball wouldn't have been that friendly. Nafeez can plan again, can think again. He has to find a way, do something to win this frame. You cannot let a player as good as Asiku lead by 5 frames to 2 for him to need to win just 1 out of 4. It will be asking from yourself for too much. That was lovely play from Naf, playing one ball by bank, playing the cue ball off the cushion into another, potting it and rendering another of Asiku's yellows dead. And it is highly likely that maybe in the next 2-3 minutes, it will be 4 frames to 3 and not 5 frames to 2. And dear viewers, you are watching the Berlin Lounge Open Championship that has been advertised for the space of just about 3 weeks or something. It is 4 tournaments in one. One event is a team event. That one is already in the final. It has Nafeez team, that is Rakatak Money team, taking on them China Knights in tomorrow's final. It will be coming to you live. There are the ladies who are into the quarterfinals, and many of Kenya's finest players are involved. There is a men's event that has a few ladies participating, by the way, but only Kenyans, and that one is into the round of last 16. This one is the open category, which also has players who are not originally Kenyan allowed to participate. It has not been so successful in attracting international players. The last time I looked at the chart, it were only 2. This young man, Jackson Asiku, all the way from Kampala, and his countryman, Ibrahim Kayanja. It could be Asiku winning this ongoing frame, as he now puts the penultimate red to the corner pocket bottom right, move the cue ball to the top end of the table, hoping he doesn't get himself snookered. He came so close to being snookered, but I think he has sight of the last yellow, and simply having sight, simply playing it because it is little sight, almost guarantees him potting. Should be okay here, and okay he is. How he has played the cue ball with big right spin into the cushion and into the red, stopping the movement of the white. It is a shot too little but too detailed. As the youngster increases his lead, it is Naf 2 and Asiku 5 rest to 6 for a place in the round of last 32. Naf will be breaking, knowing that he now becomes a big underdog for the victory. Not only because of the quality of Asiku, but because of the current score. Naf must win 4 frames in a row or else succumb to an early exit. And it will be a little bit painful. He's one of few players that are clearly at home, because he is a resident in Kisumu. He could walk home if he wanted. But for me, I just believe that anywhere you are in Africa, if you are African, you are home. This I have to tell you, even the thing of passports and everything, I don't believe in it. There's a way it becomes nonsense. Like in this country, in the region where we are, some of the people who are divided. The border between Kenya and Uganda are actually members of the same family, but the family has people, some of them Kenyan, some of them Ugandan. I got a chance to travel to places like Zimbabwe. I find people with whom we speak a very similar language. Some of the words I speak, they understand very well, and vice versa. Same applies to places like Zambia and as far as South Africa. And yet I'm supposed to be a foreigner. Rubbish. But what is not rubbish is the playing level of this young man. We'll be having the tricky problem of 2 yellows close to each other. On the left, he will be having them in mind. He knows that if he gets something wrong here, he loses the frame because of the position of Naf's reds. Maybe one of the yellows is the ball he could be playing now by bank into the center pocket right. And naturally white is played into another. If he gets that shot right, he will almost certainly be guaranteed winning the frame. If he gets it wrong, he's almost certainly guaranteed losing the frame. That's why he's not taking risk. He's playing an easier ball and he's putting it. He's playing the cue ball into Naf's red, but he still has work to do. He still has a tricky looking yellows frame, because most especially of the 2 yellows close to each other, they are almost both packed right in the pocket. That is why he's having this very tricky play. He's leaving a cut between white and yellow, such that if he cuts the yellow, he plays the cue ball into the 2 dead yellows. He does so. He cannot be too young and too good. He just gets you speechless sometimes. His imagination, his game reading, his execution, the way he handles the game like a very mature player. And if he has only now turned 16, participating in a competition outside his own home country, only for the 2nd time in a row, taking down a player good enough to be his dad. It will be Asiku taking the limelight of the day. He wins the match. He will be congratulated by Naf. As the young man wins, it will be a shockwave to the rest of the competition. that Asiku is in Kenya to try his best. Final score, Jackson Asiku 6 and Nafeez Karan 2. Thank you for watching. See you shortly.